insignia behind you.
Yo, welcome to Shibazin's Daily. It's me and Barbie. Hey, Barb.
Hey,
And we got a special guest tonight for you, Eric Frank from the Ching community. Now, Ching is the ancient, I would call it a math thing. People call it divination. I would call it more of a math thing, per Terence McKenna. But it's an ancient divination math technique. Eric, I'm going to fuck this up. Eric, could you tell the fine people at home what the hell is that I-Ching, anyways? The real I-Ching.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
thanks for having me, Jonathan. Yeah, I'm always happy to come out and spread the good word about Ching, the celestial dragon. Yeah, so some of the lore, the I-Ching, or also known as the Book of Changes, is very old, about 3,000 years old. And it what it is sort of it was a way that uh, wisdom was found when there was uncertainty or decisions that needed to be made. And the way that the I-Ching worked was it was the flipping of three coins in a bowl. So you would take three coins that has heads or tails, and you put them in a bowl, and you swirl them around, and then you dump that bowl down onto the ground, and then you look, and you'll see a combination of heads and tails. And you do that 6 times. And each time you flip those coins in the bowl, so to speak, what you are assembling from the bottom up is a kind of a broken or solid line stick figure. It has 6 lines in it. Each line is made by each throw that you make.
Right.
And combined, those 6 solid or broken lines, make what is called a hexagram.
Right.
And the hexagram,
like a stop sign. Is that a hexagram?
No, not a hexagon. It's hex in the sense that there's 6 lines, so it still has the hex component to it, but it's hexagram in the sense that it's information rather than a mathematical shape.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for clearing that up. Yes, sir. So a hexagram.
Exactly.
6-line
And
hexagram.
What's interesting too is that with each of these flipping of the coins, there is actually a binary code that goes along with every one of these flips, because as we know, a coin has heads or tails, right? Well, binary is 0 or 1. And so your heads are 0, your tails are 1. And so for each throwing of these coins, a series of 6 binary digits is created.
Yes.
Which is possibly where the binary coding system that we use in our computers today may have even originated from.
Yes, brother. Yes. Wow.
This may have been the oldest known usage of a binary system like this, which is in itself is just mind bending.
Yes.
And so there are 64 possible combinations that can be made with these hexagrams, and each combination represents different elements: air, wind, earth, and fire. They represent different seasons: summer, spring, winter, fall. They represent different energy levels of the yin and growing energy, or the yang and waning energy. It it ties into all of those elements there. And in China during this period, advisors would use this book of changes, these wisdoms that came from harnessing a particular question, and the advisor would hold this particular question in their mind. Maybe it was about invading a neighbor or predicting crop yields, and
Yeah, it
they
was
would
originally
hold this.
for weather predictions, right? That's what they
Yes,
originally did.
yes, exactly. Weather predictions, rain forecasts, all that stuff.
Mhm.
And they would hold that question in their mind, and then they would build their hexagram, and they would then interpret that. And then the process completes by repeating the process, because the I Ching is known as the book of changes. Change is ever constant. And
Mm.
so oftentimes you will throw coins to produce one hexagram, and then you repeat it a second time. And what's happening is the information you get is that the wisdom is changing from one hexagram to that second hexagram. And that deepens and enriches the wisdom and the information that you're getting from that,
That's amazing.
Wow.
building of
I want to
that
get
trigram. Yeah.
I want to get 6 pennies and I want to start throwing them.
Oh yeah.
We
Well, remember, you only need three.
Oh,
You
you
only
only
need
need
three.
3.
Yep, and you
we're
can
building
use
6
any.
lines though. Remember that
Well,
line
yeah,
that was too close to the sun, Barbie? I told Barbie last night, I was like, yeah, you kind of in life, you don't want to go to the 6th bar on the thing. But because that's like burning Icarus burning up in the sun. Maybe you chill around 5. Now that could be something totally different. But that when you throw the 3 coins, you're building each line, Barbs.
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you
Broken or
throw
solid.
3 coins 6 times, building from the bottom up to construct that trigram, or that hexagram. There are some online sites that do it. It's highly recommended that you write down physically, like with a pencil or a pen, that you write down that question that you're considering. It really.
Wow.
I'm so
Wow.
glad you taught us that.
Wow.
Yes.
This is amazing. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. I just got a new tool. Are you
Barbie, I
kidding
could
me?
not be happier that me and you are on this together. I mean, because don't tell Barbie none
Down.
of that shit. Don't tell her a motherfucking thing about it, because she knows she's already doing it.
You might even write it down a couple of times, because it works best when you are focused on a particular question, or
You know what? Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. That
I'm
is
so
just
excited for you. Yes,
brilliant.
it's very brilliant and very ancient. And yeah, they say
It's incredible.
yes. Confucius, when he learned about it, Barbie, Confucius was so pissed off that he waited so long to learn about it. Like people kept trying to tell him, and he was like, fuck that shit. And then he was dying, and somebody taught it to him, and he's like, fuck, I should have learned this in my 20s. That was Confucius. And before him, it was what? King Wen, Wen. King Wen Lambo. Yeah. And he was using
if I just learned it today, that means something's coming.
Yeah, I'm so glad, because I hear a lot about it. Now, here's why I learned about it originally. The 64 original Bitcoin miners, would you call them, Eric? They did a good thing. They helped each other out, and they never fucked each other. And that's what I heard. They helped each other out.
That.
When they could have fucked each other, they didn't. They were like, you don't fuck a stranger. You remember that guy, Barbie, from the bowling movie with John Goodman the other day? He was beating that guy's Corvette, saying you don't fuck a stranger. Well, they didn't. None of the 64 miners did. And so I think, and I could be messing this up, but the I-Ching, the Celestial Dragon, the asset that's on Ethereum, I think its algorithm or something in it, inside of it internally, was built off of those original 64 Bitcoin miners. What transactions, Eric? Transactions? Would you say, Eric?
So like yeah. So what it is so the Bitcoin consensus mechanism is based on a proof of work, and Ethereum is now on a proof of stake, right? And so what the Ching mechanism is able to do is it's able to sort of pretend as though it is a proof of work. It's like a proof of
Mm.
work emulator that is loaded on the proof of stake Ethereum
Pretend
Very
chain.
as though
nice.
it pretend as though it is.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Wow.
when we get into the nitty gritty of some of the contract, there's some other folks who can talk a little bit better about it. I'm definitely more proficient with sort of the lore and the dev tweets,
Yes.
because we have to be honest that the Ching Celestial Dragon project is still very much shrouded in a mystery by intention and by design. And so
Yes.
there's a lot to be revealed. And so I never want to, speak out of turn before more is revealed, if that
Mm.
kind of makes sense, right? It's
Certainly.
like
And can you tell us
yep.
more about the lore behind the 64? And did it come from 3,000 years ago?
So 64 has just a really powerful resonance. As when it comes to Bitcoin, my understanding is that there were 64 initial, I guess, consensus operators, and 64 of them were required in order to start building the chains of blocks and have sufficient consensus. And that's kind of going back to what you were talking about, Jonathan, about working together. They all realized that if they didn't, this project would fail.
Yes.
And so they had two options: work together and watch it succeed, or every man for himself, or any sort of selfish other motives, and the project fails.
Yes.
Mm.
And
Very
so it
nice.
kind of set up a good model for us in this realm of decentralization. We're all connected in this ecosystem. We're all connected, and we all don't know how yet.
Yes.
There's a lot more to be revealed. We've got a lot of big brains in the community who are putting pieces together, but I think really we're going to start seeing just how interconnected this ecosystem is, and how it's the strength of that interconnectedness that makes it attack proof, hack proof, everything proof, and self-sustainable, and for the people.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I know you just spoke with the lore, and I apologize, John, for taking him into something else, but it's just coming to my mind. How does this relate to Teo? Does it?
Tail. Fang? No? Tail?
No, Teo, like the religion, the
Oh, Tao.
Oh, like Taoism, the Tao Te Ching, that kind of
Tao, yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yes, yeah. So um, Taoism is a belief system, and their principles are based on a piece of writing called the Tao Te Ching, and it's actually it's a TAO, right?
Yeah,
TAO
yeah.
DE.
Unfortunately, please forgive me. I'm German.
No, it's okay.
I spoke German as a kid. I learned English and I learned Spanish. So my consonants and everything are just always messed up. I do apologize. So, but
No,
yes,
yeah,
you're correct.
and when you search around and you're looking for I-Ching resources, you oftentimes stumble across Tao Te Ching resources as well, just because the search
Mhm,
engines don't know the difference.
mhm. Yeah.
So
The
yeah.
I-Ching, yeah. I feel like a rumor is that the I-Ching, the power that it harnesses, the power of nature, the power of mathematics, is
Yes.
harnessed inside this contract address,
Mhm,
meaning that maybe it's an oracle of oracles, maybe it's a piece of the oracle of oracles,
mhm,
something to that effect. But I love, because Terrence McKenna did a lot of research with the I-Ching. Like it's a ton of research out there, tons of books on them. And they've harnessed that energy, that power of nature, the magic of
mhm.
nature, into this machine. And to the tune of, I believe one time they didn't even guess a random number, Barbie. they knew when the random number was coming up, it was 369. And they, yeah, I think it was on Treat. It was called Nonce, Nonce, which I think means random, supposed to be random number. Nonce,
Nonce, yeah.
369. Do you remember when that happened, Eric?
I don't.
Yeah.
But
so that may be the power that lies in this Oracle of Oracles potentially.
Yeah, I mean, so much, potential. Going back to the lore, so there was a book published by a man named Nema Jahan back in 2012, and the book was entitled "The Celestial Dragon," I-Ching, and sort of the namesake of this token. And what that book basically did was it updated a lot of the language from the Book of Changes and put it into a very narrative, easy to understand sort of guide to understanding this magic. And again, it was published, back in 2012, and that's just an interesting tidbit that
very
And
much
also
so.
the year. Actually, that's an interesting year, 2012.
Yeah.
That, I swear we all shifted at that moment.
That's a beautiful thing. I really want to get that book. I believe it's available on Amazon. Shout out to them that wrote it. Shout out to the people that did these contracts. Thank you, Eric. That was beautiful. I'm so glad. Is there any other pieces of the lore, comic book pieces that we're missing, or dragons that we're missing?
There's a lot more to unpack, but let's save that for another time.
Beautiful. Thanks. That means we'll be right back. Love you.